Hey y'all, this is As Told by Queers, where we speak for the changemakers. I'm Micah.
I'm Portia.
And today we're going to be talking about strap-ons and what's the hype about it today. But before we get into that, we're going to get into some deep breathing because it is needed, especially for me because I be holding my breath and stuff in the middle of nowhere. So
let's get into it, y'all. Find your breath. We're going to take some deep breaths and just bring ourselves into the present moment today. So let's take two. Take one deep inhale. Let your belly fill up. Hold it a little at the top. And exhale. On this next inhale, we're going to exhale with a big sigh at the end. I'll let you know when it's time. So let's inhale. Deep, deep, deep. Fill up your bellies. Hold it on the top. And let's exhale with a sigh. I always love a sigh. It makes me feel like I'm de-stressing the day.
Right. Okay. So first, we're going to get into what the moon is in, because that's usually how we do this intro. Today it's going to be in a new moon. So, and the new moon is in Gemini, so that's going to be fun. Pretty much, just a rundown, just in case you don't know. The moon is your emotions. It's how you're going to be feeling, the type of vibe. Why it controls the emotions is because the moon controls the currents, and also your body is 80% water, so it is controlling that. Yes, we have a whole episode on that. So if you want to know information about astrology, that will be up in these areas, or it will be down below in the comments, just in case I forget. Now, anywho, so yes, the moon is going to be in Gemini. Gemini is the twins. Gemini is an air sign, so it's a very active sign. It is a very thinking sign. Air signs are the thinkers of the zodiac. And so pretty much what that is you're going to be, during this time, you're going to be very much in your thoughts. You're going to be very much into, communicating your feelings, because they're a communicative sign also. So it could be a very good time to have, those hard conversations where you feel like, man, I can't have this conversation right now. Just too much in my head. I can't get it out. I don't have the proper words. It's a good time to do that. If you're doing any type of collabing with someone, perfect time to join with collaboration. Perfect time to have that little, with your co-host or whatever, with your partnerships and stuff like that, to have these deep conversations and get to the point during this time, because just use this as your talkative time point in time. Okay. It will be in there for about 2 to 3 days. So with this new moon, definitely try to get, if you don't know a new moon ritual, look up new moon rituals and then kind of tie it in with the theme that I kind of just told you, so that you can release some of that energy. Maybe it's the energy of you're not able to communicate your emotions, or you're not able to, maybe you're stuck, you have writer's block, and you want to release that energy. This is the perfect time to do that, because you're moving in the energy of being able to communicate better. So hopefully that helps y'all. And yeah. That's what I have.
I think the intentions I'm going to be setting for this new moon are who are the collaborations that I want to have. And I'm going to be doing some ritual around that and calling in who are the collaborations that I want around me for this next phase of life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That would be dope. See? Join the two energies together and you have what you need. Okay, let's what are we pulling cards? What are we doing, sis?
We are pulling cards today from the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle by Judy Hall. So the Crystal Wisdom Oracle Healing by Judy Hall. Okay. And I just tuned into the soul group and what energy we most needed to hear today. And the card we pulled is Peridot. Peridot or Peridot, depending on how you pronounce that. I like Peridot. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that is what I love. Oh, say that again.
Sorry. It looks like a greenish, yellowish color.
It absolutely is. And it is one of my favorite new crystals actually in my collection. Let me see if I have it here because I'm on my desk. I have this little gorgeous peridot ring. So you can kind of see that this one's like a little bit of a light green, and then the one in this picture, you can see the little deeper, darker greens. What I love about this deck is that these cards really do hold the energy of the crystals. So if you don't have any peridot in your collection, having this up on your altar or sitting with this, you'll really have the energy of the crystals here because the pictures are so vivid. So I'll read you the description.
Oh, that's cool.
I know, I live for this deck, and it's part of the reason why, because it just makes for nice to have around too.
Right, exactly. And you know, I'm big on altars, so
yeah,
I might need to go buy that deck.
Yes, okay, we will link in the description where you can get it on Amazon, because I got this from your good old Barnes & Noble, but I know that they have it on Amazon as well. Perfect. So Peridot is the card of emotional cleansing. Peridot frees the mind from unwelcome, envious thoughts and night terrors. It's transmutative, and purifying. Transmutative means it allows you to be able to shift energy from one to another. And it's purifying as well. The understanding for this card is you're deeply emotional and may possessively cling to the past or beat yourself up over mistakes. By nature jealous, you have dark thoughts. Detoxify your emotions, learn to forgive and let go. Follow your own life plan without judging yourself or being envious of others. You have the power to go through fiery transmutation and emerge transformed. Who out here in the soul group is looking the other way. They say comparison is the thief of joy. The divination is use your energy wisely. Recognize how outside influences operate in your life. Develop your own protection. Learn to rely on your inner guidance. Peridot indicates farewells and disappointments in love. Avoid jealousy. Be sensitive without aggression. You have a powerful destiny and great integrity. Money is earned from your talents. Envy and jealousy harm you as well as hurting others. Soul group, who in our life are we looking the other side of? Let's stay in our lanes. Right. Paradox here to remind you that your lane is sacred and what's for you will never be for another, that it will always be for you. So make sure that you're focused on the number one key player and not looking to compare yourself to somebody and steal your own joy.
Yeah. That's crazy because I had a thought about that earlier this week. It just like ran across my head about just literally what that card was just reading and just thinking about it. And I was just like, So that's interesting that you pulled that card. I totally agree that your biggest competitor is yourself.
Yeah. And there's something special about each and every one of us that we need to be cultivating and not looking to see what's special about somebody else that we can copy. Also, what I'm seeing with this card is that you have the ability to transmute that energy. So if you're feeling that energy, it doesn't have to stay forever. Allow yourself to be able to move through it and move into something different.
Right. And it's just another point. It's low key just not even fair to compare yourself because we all are different. Like we're so different. And I hope that from what you get from just like our astrology readings and just from like pulling these cards and everything, that you really do see that every aspect or every sign or whatever the case may be just brings something totally different. And everybody has their unique way of being. And so it's just not even fair to yourself to compare.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So low-key, I think this may be one of my favorite topics of the Orange series. Okay. So let's get into it. How did we come up with this topic? I don't even know who picked it. I feel like it was me, but it probably wasn't.
I'm 90% sure that you picked this topic. But as I was like mentally preparing for like, where do we come up with this topic? I think we came up with it because from our last sex toy conversation, I'm still trying to figure out what is what with the strap. Like, I want to love it. I want deeply to understand that it's going to be worth all the shit that I have to do to be able to do it.
And
pay for it. It needs to be worth my coins. So I said, okay, let's chat about it and let's break it down. And girl, as I was looking for how to see where we've come to see where we are going as a Black person, we're always looking at ancestors first.
Yes. Give us a history lesson, sis.
Girl, the history lesson, my God. So paint the picture. I'm sitting here looking through the history lesson, right? And it all started with a conversation from your babe talking about, oh, I remember writing this paper about how a woman got arrested, like that, because at the time, she was, homosexuality was illegal. So there was like a court case, and the woman had fastened a strap out of like cotton and some other things, and the woman who she'd been having sex with the strap ended up having no court ramifications because she didn't know that it was not a real penis. And the woman who created the strap was the one who ended up getting, whatever the sentence was, because she was the one who created it. And I thought, so interesting how the world looks at homosexuality in that way, in that time. So funny. But what it really got me thinking is like, how long have these little strap conversations been happening? She's fastening this shit out of wood and cotton. What else is happening here? Girl, I done seen dicks made out of jade. I done seen dicks made out of wood, rock, dicks going back to the teeth, going back to the Greeks. There are pictures of dicks in the hieroglyphics, girl, at the Egyptians, girl.
Yeah, I believe it. Absolutely.
Okay, I have to share some of my favorite stories. So there was one story in particular, and I don't remember which pharaoh it was, but the thought process was that the pharaoh, mind you, because that's the other thing with this. Let me backtrack a little. The strap conversation goes deeper and wider than just women having sex with women. The strap conversation kind of touches all aspects of human life, and sexualities. The one from the hieroglyphs had me fucking out. So the thought process was that to increase rain in the community, the pharaoh had to ejaculate into the Nile River. To induce ejaculation, he sat on his wife's lap while she entered him and stimulated his prostate so that he could then masturbate and spread his sperm into the Nile River. Girl, I was too through. I was like, okay, Egypt. We see you moving.
Look, I just want to say that it wasn't until, recently, with these new humans, I would call, that I'm a part of, that like this, just sexuality, the fluidity, and like just gender fluidness, and like just accepting of this is how the fuck I get off, and like, and just letting it be that. It's just like, it's just until this time where it just started to be so blocky and just wrong. Because when you look at Egyptians, you look at the hieroglyphs, and you look at just how, just like, bitch, we're putting this shit on our walls. So you know how comfortable you gotta be to put the shit on your wall? like, come on. Like, I don't know. I hope that this history lesson opens y'all minds to some stuff.
I mean, no tea, no shade. I was like, wow. But I also think it is, like you said, it's a nod to our ancestors that we should take a point that our pleasure is worth being prioritized, however it is that you get it, as long as it's safe for you and others. And they wasn't holding no fucking punches. Bitches is out here in the, millennia. Since time immemorial, there has been a dick to go in a hole. And it has not been made out of skin. I'm still shook. And I think I should have known, obviously, but I think that just goes to show that sexuality is important and people's pleasure, it should be prioritized. And it has been for millennia. So what the fuck are we complaining about now? But anyway, to go back to that conversation, it went back as far as the hieroglyphs, moved to the Greeks, girl. A lot of Greek conversation in which women's hysteria. There was a thought process with the Greeks that women had semen, and if their semen didn't get out, it made them sick and they had hysteria. So women pleasured themselves with dildos fashioned out of a variety of different things to bring down that semen while their husbands were away. Interesting. Because that's the first time you're seeing women pleasuring, that's the first time I was seeing women pleasuring themselves, which makes me think that, of course, women were pleasuring each other, and we know how the Greeks fuck it down. The men were pleasuring each other as well, with variety of different things that were outside of their normal penises. So I was here for that too. I thought that was super mild, interesting. Then there was like the modern strap-on conversation kind of took a turn around the 1950s. In the 1950s, then we started looking at things with a little more rubber. And then from the 1950s to the 1990s, where the real boom happened, where silicone being produced on mass distribution allowed for different colors, different sensations, different feels, the ability to be able to have it be something that we have today, which you have a million and one options, not just one option. Kind of reminds me of like going back to sanitary pads, how back in the old school days, your mama had to like hook it into the front and hook it into the back. And that was how, you know, she was just going to hold it together for them 7 days. Now you got diva cups, pads, tampons. Options have opened up as technology has opened up. And so is the conversation of strap-on dicks, dildos, and things of that nature.
Yes.
Girl.
Exciting. Exciting. Okay. So with all of this lovely history comes the stereotypes, where we are now, where we are today. And see, I follow lesbian Twitter, and so gay Twitter, I follow. And so what I usually see that kind of is frustrating, because I'm an advocate for the straps, the dildos, the toys, etc.
Strap-on gay.
What kind of like stands out to me, I see more negative than positivity. And it's interesting to me because when I go to rodeo.com, shout out to Rodeo, it be sold out. Straps be sold the fuck out in the 4.5 inch, in the 6 inches, just gone, right? So my thing is, why is there just so much hate around this? So of course, usually it has to do with understanding. Now, I'm gonna start with a few stereotypes that I usually see, because I know that sis over here is hesitant. I know she's not against it. She's just like, look, you're gonna have to sell me one, because I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's a lot of work and it costs a lot, so it needs to be worth it.
I agree. Do your research. Do your research. Okay, so cool. So one of the first things I hear is, of course, if you're wearing a strap, what's the point? You might as well just go get a man if you go a strap, right?
Uh-huh.
Number fucking one that I see. All right, look, y'all. There is a difference. One, a dick feels totally different from a strap. Totally different. It's actual skin, y'all. Like, it's softer, it's wetter, like, from what I hear. But anyways, so yes, there's a whole nother type, there's a difference. And it's attached to a whole man that smells like a man, that's hard like a man, or soft like a man. It could be a little squishy man, okay? But like, he's a man, so it's different, okay? Then a woman that has titties, or whatever you're working with, because you could be with someone who is a blend of all of those things. It's about the connection that you have with the person and the trust that you're willing to give. And so that is the difference. When it comes to, well, why not a man? It's because the person that I'm fucking with is the person I like. You know, I want them to enter into me. So that is the difference. Okay. Stereotype number 2 that I hear is, do you want to be a man? Okay. So I think that all depends on the actual person, how they express their gender. Some women, and I guess we're really just talking about women specifically, but some women...
Strap-on conversation about women having strap-on sex with other women.
Okay, cool. We're going to keep it simple. That is, no, I'm a woman. I got titties. I identify with my titties. I accept my titties, my vagina, all the parts, my period. I may not like it when she comes, when auntie comes, but she come in and we're prepared, okay? So there's no disconnect there. It's just, I like what it does for me, right? I like the connection I have with my partner. I like how they respond. Shit, I like bending it over, etc. Right? Okay. So anyways, what else? I'm looking at my notes, y'all. Hold on. Another thing. So say, for instance, there is a person that actually accepts the strap, understands that that's a part of it, but they're like, hey, are you top heavy in your relationship? Are you always using toys when you have sex? Like, are you dependent on the toys? Look, first of all, that's my business.
That's your business.
Right, exactly. That's my business. If I want to be top heavy in this relationship, that's my business. And like every relationship is different. Certain partners really, really enjoy the strap than others. You know what I mean? And some don't. And then it's up to you as the partner to kind of just adjust to that if that's what you want to do or not. So yeah, I think that's really what I got to say to that. There's no wrong to it. What is wrong about coming? Nothing. We're coming here.
For that, I also think there's this conversation I think about women, whoever having sex with women, about penetration in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm interested. The reason why the strap even interests me is because at some point when you're with somebody for a cool minute, you're looking for other ways to please each other. You're looking to push your sexual edges. And I think penetration, in the many ways that you can receive penetration, through strap-ons, through toys, through the many different other ways that you can do that, is a nice option to know. I do feel like it requires a rule book. And that's why I'm a bit of a like, again, we pull oracle cards because tarot requires a lot of rules. I fucking have a lot of rules in general. So the strap on conversation adds a level of rules that, is worth kind of talking about. I think the stereotypes you hit the nail on the head about men always wanting to believe that, like, oh, that just must be that you want to be a man. Like, no. I hear lesbians say all day long, I would take a dick all day long if I wasn't attached to that nigga. And I don't like to say that, but that's what I hear women say all the time, is penetration is exciting. Just because I want to be penetrated doesn't mean that I need to be heterosexual to be penetrated.
Exactly. And men, and let me not generalize them, some men do not know how to attach themselves from their dicks, okay? So it just is what it is. And I just don't hear this from men either. I hear this from women. And I also hear this in the lesbian community. So don't think you won't get discriminated in your own damn community, goddammit. Because
that's a damn sure.
It's a thing and it is real. And I just be like, really?
Can I say something too though about what you just said? That is quintessential us. And we gotta check us, is that we will talk mad shit about something we steady buying. Like you said, the rodeo website don't ever be, in abundant.
They're not hurting. They're not hurting at all with their sales.
But all through the line, we talking shit. That's the other piece, though, I want us to think through as Black women, as Black gay folks, in all of the different areas which strap-on is your thing, because there are many people who use strap-ons that are not just women. We have to think through who is controlling our sexual narrative. If you want to enjoy sex and you want to be sex positive, that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you nasty. And I think so there's this thought process sometimes in gay communities that we have to compare ourselves so tightly to straight communities, and like, oh, well, if we're talking about a dick, that's not a real dick. Let me clutch my pearls. Girl, you out here bending it over for a whole nother girl. Why don't you just let yourself come right on over? Come fully on over to the dark side, honey, and be with us here, because we're all enjoying ourselves. Don't make it seem like there's something wrong with you because you enjoy yourself. Prioritize your pleasure, Black woman, Black person, Black gay person.
Right. And I think it's, explore. I think to me, the way I go about sex is let's explore. Let's just see. Are we going to knock this out of the relationship or not? You know what I mean? It could not go well. That don't mean nothing. If I'm really with a person and we in it for the long haul, hell yeah, let's try some stuff. We in it for the long haul. Like,
exactly.
You don't want to do the same thing every single time. So I guess it's a good way to explore. And not everybody is going to like straps. We're going to talk about that later. That's for another time. But anyway, I'm staying on task. For sure. Okay. Last stereotype, but is not the least. Like, there's tons. But last one is, well, what's the point? Like, she can't feel it. Or I'm a natural lesbian, so I don't do straps. Like, there is no such thing as a natural lesbian. Stop that now. There's no such thing as a natural lesbian. Whether you use your fingers or not, whatever. I was one of those, so I'm throwing shade at my old self, okay? Like, I used to be like, nah, I'm not doing no strap. I don't need no strap. Like, my fingers will do it. But I wasn't in that space of exploring. when I was younger. I wasn't in that space of like, let's just learn about it. Let's just see how far we can go, you know? So, yes. And about the feeling part, understand that women are blessed with this thing called a clitoris. And how many, did I get an amen?
I decided to just continue.
Yes. Wait, and how many nerves do we have? And how many nerves, babe? 80,000? 8,000. Look, somebody Google. It's either 8,000 or 80,000. I know it's in the 8s. 8,000 nerves. Now, can you imagine something? It's 8,000. Babe just Googled it really quickly. That's what I'm talking about. And the penis has 4,000. Okay, so can you imagine something that is wet, ready to go, aroused, tapping up against something with the booty in the midst? And that's just in the tip of the clitoris. We're not talking about the lips. We're not talking about any of those things. So when you say that they can't feel it, it just shows that you haven't tried it.
Well, okay, wait. Now we gotta speak. We gotta speak for the people who are saying that. I think we go back to the rules, right?
Okay.
Because I have personally tried it and not felt shit, but I think I was missing some of those rules and how and yeah.
We'll get there someday. We'll get there someday.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm addressing it. I'm saying that there is another perspective, y'all. There's another perspective that we can really dive into and get into, okay? So, yes, understand that the clitoris is very sensitive. It is a thing. Also, and this is a point I'm going to go more into later. Matter of fact, I'm going to stop there. Now, on to the next segment of what excites me about the strap. Do you have anything else you want to say about those stereotypes, sis, before we move on?
There was something I wanted to say about that. Also, I think a part of this, as I'm learning as you're talking, right? And maybe the thought process to look at is if you can't feel it, maybe the thing to think about is not, do I want to use it or not? Maybe the thought process is, how can I use it so that this is mutually pleasurable for both parties?
Exactly. Don't just knock it because it's not working. It's about exploring. Exploring means expanding, learning, moving to the next, to the next, to the next. It's not about, okay, that shit didn't work. If that's the case, then nah. Like, it just won't work, you know, because every vagina is different. Every clit is built differently. People get off differently. And certain people, it won't work. But I say be hopeful first. Don't just knock it first. You know what I mean? So, but I'm trying not to get into all the techniques, sis.
No, we're going to wait. Tips and tricks. We'll wait on that. But I think there's another point to that also is you don't have to feel pressure to do anything you don't want to do. If this strap conversation is like, nigga, no, then let it be no. But I think if you're interested in opening yourself up to it, let this be an opportunity to think through it a little bit differently. I don't think there's no shame in your game, regardless of whether you're somebody who wants to use something external or doesn't. I think the point is coming back to prioritize your pleasure and enjoy all of the aspects of figuring out with a partner, without a partner, how you can open up a priority. You can open up more options to prioritize your pleasure. I also think you said something real that we got to just take a moment for. God bless this pussy of mine. Hallelujah to the vagina. It just does so many things. I just think we have so many options and we think so like this that we don't let ourselves like be like, what happened if I put something over there? No, hold on. What that lip do? Oh, hold on. Like there's so many different ways that can go. And I'm just grateful to be in a body that has that. And it just goes to show from a spiritual perspective, of course, the woman's fucking clitoris would have 8,000 nerve endings on the tip. We're meant to receive pleasure. I heard somebody say that a woman turned on is the greatest gift that she can give to society. And I'm agreeing.
Look, I am the biggest fan of pleasing a woman. The biggest. I love it. I love learning about how they get off. I love learning about what they like and how they like things done. I like doing it for them and seeing their face when it happens and how they respond and how they respond to you an hour later, 10 hours later. I love watching it. Because one thing about a woman is like when you give them what they like, they're going to give it back to you because we're givers. Like, it's like a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation.
It's the literal gift that keeps on giving.
It's like, you could say it's selfish, but technically it's not. This is just, it's fairness. That's what the fuck it is. Okay. So, what excites me on using a strap?
Yes, convince me, sis. What do we love about it? Tell me what we love about the strap sex.
It feels good. It really, really does. And that's like the simplest way that I can explain, but it feels good. It makes me, back to what I said, I love watching how a woman responds. Like, especially if she really likes it, like she's really into it. Not like something where it's new to her, even though you can have a moment with that too, if it is new for your partner, and taking your time and just being there and letting her kind of guide the situation. But anyways, yes, how the woman responds to the strap is everything. Like, I'm trying not to get into too many details, but like, just, it's an energy that you feel, that she's open to you and that she trusts you with her body, and that she's open to you in multiple ways. The vagina is open and she is open to you mentally, because sex is not just a physical thing. So that's also what I wanted to talk about, that I like. It's not just a physical thing. So when someone's like, you can't feel it, well, you can. Like, you can feel it mentally and physically. Physically is what I talked about earlier with the clit. And then also mentally is what you're doing, what I'm seeing is a turn on. I'm getting turned on. There's plenty of people who watch other couples have sex or who watch porn. You get off the porn, you get horny to porn. You know what I mean? So it's a mental thing too. And I think if you're able, and that's what allows you to enjoy it, if you're not in a space where you're closed off to the strap or where you're closed off to something, it's going to be very hard for you to kind of just like, and receive something or to give something. Sex is a very much of a thing that you kind of have to mentally like and be calm with. You can't be in your head too much.
Mm-hmm. And this is all talking about the person who's giving on the giving end of the strap conversation. This is why you like it from that end.
I'm gonna go to both ends.
So that so far was the giving end.
The mentally, yes.
Got it.
But I think mentally, I think you could take it on both ends. So I think this is very important to understand. Even when you're receiving, you have to be mentally open to that person that's giving it to you. You have to be, because your vagina is very tricky. All because you're horny mentally doesn't mean you're horny down there. So you have to get yourself aroused and ready to receive something. So that's what I mean by like mentally. And then if you are on the giving side, if you're actually giving it, you can be mentally there. That's another way to turn yourself on. If I'm looking at a booty and I'm stroking and I'm in it, I'm excited about all of life. If there's legs above the shoulder, I'm excited about life. Okay, sis, I'm mentally there and I am getting satisfied. Watching a side profile, a cocked head with moans.
I got it. Okay.
I try not to go into too much detail, but you kept asking. It's like you're just poking the bear.
No, I'm trying to know. Look, it looks fun. I want it to be fun.
Okay. What else? Oh, it's a great foreplay tool for sure. Well, for me, because it's also a way that I express my gender and just my aggression also. And I use it as a foreplay tool also. So it can be something that you carry, that you have on you at times. because you can strap, you can't have it while you're wearing regular clothes and you go out into the world. That is a thing. It's a whole situation going on, but like you could tease your partner and you could kind of like rub up against them in the middle of the damn grocery store down the cookie aisle. I don't know. You know what I mean? And kind of like bump into them. That's foreplay, y'all. I'm just saying.
That's some Scorpio shit.
You never know when you're going to get God.
Yes, girl.
So yeah, what else? Yes, again, it's a good way for me. I express my gender with it, so I consider myself gender fluid, so I can classify as female or male. It doesn't matter. And when I wear the strap, I feel more centered, I feel more grounded, I feel more like myself. So there that is. That you could take it out of sexuality. So understand that also. And that is okay. You could still be a lesbian, you could still identify as a woman. These are things. It's a spectrum. And where do you fall in that spectrum? You know what I mean? Let's see. I love the control that it gives me. I have a bit of control. And my Scorpio fucking lives for it. So those are like the top things that excites me about the strap, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Those are the control element is the element that I'm the most excited by, because I think sexually my favorite moments sexually are moments when I'm not in control, and I love the idea of being dominated in that way. It's fun to me. That sounds like fun to me. But I also like the idea of flipping the script on that, because I think if I think back to like my strap experiences, receiving, not necessarily my issue. It's the being required to give. And it does make me feel, I always say this, like I give a nod to dudes because I really did not, I took for granted how difficult it was to do that much pumping. Like it's so much fucking work. So much fucking work, like to just be going and go. I'm like, my legs, like what fucking core strength am I supposed to be holding on for this? So things to know. But it's exciting to think through what the power dynamics could be. What I hear in this conversation more than anything else is we have so many different options to enjoy the experience of sexuality in ourselves in any way that we want to play that out. And I feel like straps is a really great way to investigate that from many different sides. I think all the points that you made make a lot of sense, and like the different ways that you can think about it, give it, receive it. Even in giving and receiving, there's a mental fun that you can go into. And it really is, I guess the other piece of this is like it comes down to women, we really are fucking each other's minds. And if you can really play with that, the access is endless, literally endless.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like to just continue with that is the fluidity in it. It could get real fluid up in this bitch on multiple levels. Like, because you can go from feeling dominant and you are strapped. So say for instance, if you are strapping the person down and you're above them per se. So you have more control of that person. They can easily flip and ride the strap and they can be in control. So that, like, just the fact that dominance can flip so quickly with it is what I really enjoy. And you have your hands. Your hands are available to grab things like hips and booties and titties and faces and necks. Exciting.
This is taking it out.
Exciting. It's absolutely exciting.
It's interesting. So interesting. Okay, I'm slowly but surely, I'm thinking it through.
I know I can convince you, sis. We just gotta give you like a strap 101, a breakdown. We gotta go through the stores and like, I got you.
Okay, that's what we're getting to the soul group. The next time we get together to have this conversation, we are doing tips, tricks, and visuals.
Yes, you got you guys. I'm gonna pull a couple from my own personal bag, and then
what a gift you are.
Yes, I'm gonna pull some of my own stuff so that you guys can see that, especially in this day and time. I was just on a website and I was just like, what the fuck is that? You could do that with that? Like there's a stability. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, there is a stabilizer for if your strap is too heavy for the harness, and that's important because if it's too heavy, that means it's gonna limp over more, and then you're gonna be going in like this, and you don't want to go in anything like that. You want it more direct. You want more control over it to where it kind of sits on where you want it to be. They have a device where it'll stay there, and I was just like, oh my Lord Jesus. So I'm telling you, 2020 is a whole nother time than when you went shopping 3 years ago or even last year. There's some shit out there. It's some shit out there, y'all. So we're going to go more into detail of that stuff, and we're going to make sure to put the links down to all of this stuff that we're talking about so that y'all could just be like, okay, how much is that? Where's that at? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm excited.
I love it. This is the beginning of a long conversation, because if I have all these questions, I know the soul group has some questions too. So as I get educated, we're not gonna keep nothing. We're gonna put y'all on. As we learn together.
Yes. Oh, and if y'all have any questions, y'all have enough time to put them in the comments. Let us know before we do the next video.
Yes.
So we can actually answer those questions. Okay.
I love it.
All right, soul group. I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming another Sunday. If y'all new, hey, what's poppin'? This is an interesting time to just pop on in, but hey, welcome. That's Told by Queers.
That's Told by Queers, the dicks of our ancestors.
All right, y'all. Peace.